Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by a Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with a Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. All right, we're back for another episode of the Mortgage Broker Podcast, and today we're continuing on with the Behind the Broker series, and we have the great Chris Pughe on the show today. She's an incredible person to not just learn from, but be around in this industry. She's a huge part of our culture at A Better Way, very willing to share, and we're going to get into really what makes her tick is just her ability to build some really incredible relationships, and I believe it's what's fueling her success today. So let's dive in. All right, Chris, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been excited for this one because I always enjoy talking to you. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and it goes by so quickly. So I'm really appreciative that you're here. Can't wait to jump in. So welcome.
Thank you. There's really nowhere else I'd rather be except maybe Thailand or something.
That does sound better. Anyways, let's jump in. First and foremost, I do want to thank you for the food. That food was amazing. We had just finished a full plate of Nando's chicken and it was incredible. And that's just part of who you are. You're one of the most sharing, giving people in our brokerage. And that's why, one, I've been so excited to do this with you. And I just want to start there. Like, what led somebody like yourself into this crazy career of mortgage brokering?
Oh my goodness. Well, I could go right back to 1986 if you want me to, but yeah. I did work at Vancity for 24 years. And that's sort of where I got my wings. I started as a part-time teller there. And then I went into loans and I was a loans officer, loans admin, loans officer, senior loans officer. Then I was a loans manager. Vancity changed the underwriting from sales to a back office. And there was a lot of change management that had to happen because that was a massive change when the sales staff lost their lending limits. So they hired me as the advocate. And so I would run interference between the sales staff and the credit adjudicators on some of the decisions that were made until everything settled down. And then I went and managed at the independent credit function and was managing the underwriters, which was really cool. I had kids at that time and I went to the back office like that because I thought I would have more time to be with my kids. I wasn't member facing. I was in a back office. But the way our lending limits worked, they were pretty key person dependent on me because I had higher limits than most. And I was there a lot. And then one of my friends from the Richmond branch called me one day and said, we have a mortgage development job available and we think you would be awesome and you should come and do that. And I was like, I can't go from salary to commission. I'm not capable. Any opportunity I've ever had, it's been somebody else seeing me through their eyes and poking me in the ribs and then me chasing that down. So I talked to them and I became a mortgage development manager for Vancity in 2003. And I never looked back. I've been brokering in one way or another since 2003. I left Vancity in 2010 for lots of different reasons and became an independent broker. That's what got me in there, the way the wind pushed me and me taking the opportunities. But what's kept me here is the job itself. It just feels like a big fat social life. I'm a lifelong learner. It's constantly changing. It keeps me sharp. I really love that our work has so much impact on clients' lives and people build net worths because they own stuff that we've helped them finance, and people have gotten out of really tight, dire situations because we have access to lenders. And I feel like a mini superstar with a cape on some days. And I think that's why I love this job so much and what's kept me here.
You talked about a lot of kind of different roles that you had at Vancity. Was that like a quick progression through roles, or were you kind of outgrowing them, or was Vancity moving you through those, or was it them just kind of identifying where their superstar could be in the company and kind of pushing you through? Like, was it a long time between those roles?
It was from 86 to 2004. I worked there 24 years in total. My career just advanced quite quickly, but I also was always willing to take chances and try new things. I'm not the character that will poo-poo new things unless I've tried it at least once. So people saw things in me that I didn't even see. Vancity was really good to me. The people there were really, really good to me. I also didn't mention, I worked in collections for a little while, and I also worked in audit. So I'm extremely rounded when it comes to lending. It's not just all on the sales side. I understand the underwriting. I understand what goes into credit scores because I helped Vancity create those when they opened up the independent credit function. But back to your question, It was a lot of years of me just saying yes and taking chances and doing things that scare me every single day, like this podcast, that got me where I am.
Well, I have to imagine going through all those different roles kind of, really rounded you out, having the skill sets on being where you're at today as the broker. I mean, especially even thinking about working in collections. I mean, what better way to learn how to do awkward and hard phone calls than being a collector? So, yeah, I mean, I could imagine all of those experiences and all that transition you did through the bank really helped you, kind of become the well-rounded broker you are today.
It did. But what's kind of funny about that is it never taught me how to run my own business. And so in 2010, when I decided I couldn't work for Vancity anymore and I became an independent mortgage broker, I rode on the coattails of the contacts that I'd made and the realtor and referral sources that I'd made. And as an aside, I don't think we need a ton of referral source people. My career seems to do pretty good with about 10 people in my circle, whether it be realtors or investment advisors. The rest of the business can come from our database, our friends, our family, and people we know. So I think that's a lesson I've learned. I know you guys haven't asked me that part of it. Back to my point about running a business is that I never learned how to run a business. And so I floundered around from 2010 until I found a better way in 2020. And things have changed and technology has changed. But it's just been in recent years. I think some of it has to do with getting older because I'm doing 5-year terms that are coming up for renewal in 2030. And I'm like, am I going to be here when these guys come up for renewal? I've always been the lifelong broker, right? So it's like, I need to really think about this. And part of thinking about that is taking care of my body and taking care of my nervous system. And so I made some radical changes just this year to do that. But since I've joined A Better Way, I've learned how to write a business plan. I've tapped into all of your guys' Tuesday meetings. I do all the things that I don't want to do because my psyche gets in my own way. I just send it. And everything really started to go my way. And I really think that I'm only just finding my footing as a broker in 2024, 2025. Although I've always been able to do the job. I've been shy. I live little. I've been keeping myself a secret, if you will. So thanks to you guys, I now run a business and I do the things that scare me every single day. And I'm having so much fun doing it.
Well, you couldn't ask for more than that. Like, that's the whole point of anything you do in life is you better enjoy it, right? Or what's the point of even doing it? So that's pretty cool. It's inspiring to hear that. I wouldn't mind just going back a couple steps. So when you left the back office at Vancity and became a mortgage development manager, so was that directly 100% commission? And what was that like making that change? Because that's obviously scary and it's so different to now you basically eat what you kill, right?
Absolutely. And I was terrified to do it. It was other people that told me that I could do it, ironically. And they were right. I hit the ground running and I never looked back. I became a very big fish in a little pond at Vancity. And part of it is that Vancity had some tremendous underwriting criteria, but I knew all of our underwriters at that time. So relationships are so important in this business. And it's a bit more challenging as a broker to get to know your lender partners, but it's less so now, where I think we're much more of a collaborative industry now than it was in the past.
I couldn't agree more. Like, that's probably what I like the most about our industry now.
I know. I feel like I'm part of a big, huge family that involves everybody in our industry. I've never felt like that until the last couple of years. And it's so cool that we're all coming together like that. And there's lots of compassion and there's lots of stories and there's lots of time. So the underwriting part wasn't hard for me. And I'm pretty personable. The networking wasn't hard for me. I was able to get referrals quite easily to Vancity because it was a great company. Good underwriting criteria. I had a really good reputation there and I could get things done that brokers couldn't at that time because of some of the policies that we had.
I remember those policies well.
Yeah.
I got my first mortgage at Vancity. Qualified interest only at 80% loan to value.
Yes, I know. There was a whole bunch of that. Yeah. So yeah, I did well for sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting comments that you made, and I mean, it's again a theme of these sessions, is relationships. And, I know you're very social, you're out there, you're easy to talk to. We've got a good relationship. But one thing that you mentioned is a lot of people think they have to work with a ton of people to be successful. And it's kind of that old saying is, are you taking the relationships a mile wide and an inch deep, or are you taking it an inch wide and a mile deep? So I think when you have the ability to build those relationships and that trust close with people, where you actually care and like to have them around. That's, in my opinion, always been one of the key success drivers for brokers in the industry.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when people ask me, what's your sales strategy? And I have a really hard time kind of coming up with one, because that's a natural thing, is to have people that you hang out with. We're human. We need connections. I think sometimes our industry, one of the challenges is that we're always striving for efficiency, and how much can one person fund versus how much can one person give excellent service. And I think the low bar for me, that's sort of not negotiable, is to be excellent every time I deal with a client. Be excellent for them and listen to what they want and listen to what their goals and dreams are, and then try really hard to help them achieve that. All of us care about people, but I can honestly say I outcare my competition. And I'm not talking about other brokers, because I think that we're either competing or we're collaborating. A better way, we collaborate all the way. So I'm not saying that from a competitive perspective. I'm saying that from an internal drive. It's like outcarry your competition. How can you take this one step further? And sometimes where I just want to shut my computer down and go to bed, I'm like, nope, there's one more option for these people that I need to tell them what it is. So I try to take really good care of my clients, and then they talk to their friends, of course, and away we go.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the first piece of advice I got coming into this industry was, if you just care, and if you care, you'll make the right decisions, because if you don't care, you'll start making bad ones, especially, maybe unethical ones, maybe ones that are financially beneficial for you versus the other. If the core is to care, you're going to be pretty successful no matter what.
I think so. You have to communicate too well.
Well, for sure, but it's derived from the fact that you actually care. You're going to make those right moves, right?
For your clients, yeah. I mean, we're intermediaries.
Yeah.
So many intermediaries aren't needed anymore in this technological world.
Totally.
But we still are, and I think that we will be for a really long time, because we need human connection to make these huge decisions.
You can certainly tell the difference between the people that care about the commissions over the process and the outcome. If you care about the process and bringing people through the right way, and commission is secondary, but if you just really do take the people from start to finish, show them that you're there, you're their advocate, you're always going to win.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I want to jump into some of the day-to-day operations. What does a typical day look like for you?
Oh my goodness. I work a lot right now. In 2023, I had a really rough year. And I know why I had a rough year, and we could talk about that if we want. But I think maybe the point is, in 2024, I 4-timed my volumes from 2023. And that was mostly because I engaged in everything that you guys offered, whether I thought I was going to learn something or not. And I don't just attend the Tuesday meetings. I might have my camera off, but I am really engaged in what you're talking about. Otherwise, I don't want to be there. I won't learn, and I won't be able to give back to our partners. I like to be there for our partners, because they're taking their time out too. So I think when we all show up in droves, that makes us a really strong brokerage.
Totally.
But so my days are generally... Well, it's real estate. Can we really plan our days? I'm not that methodical. There's lots of things that I haven't got to that I'm trying to work on. One of the things I struggle with a little bit is my CRM system. So I've made appointment with Western Broker Services to try and get that done next Tuesday. I've got a lot of things that I need to get to. I'm more reactionary, maybe.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, how do you stay organized in those busy times, especially when there is maybe a lot of stuff coming at you that you have to react to? Do you have any sort of ways or tips that, help you kind of calm through the storm?
Yeah, I breathe a lot, because keeping our nervous system intact is really, really good. I find some brokers that I talk to are always expecting the worst outcome, which just blows me away, because the lenders want to get the money out the door. The clients want the money. We want to get them the money. We're all sort of working towards the same goal, but we're like, that appraisal's going to get declined. I just know it. Worrying about that stuff is praying for it to happen. What if it gets approved? Chances are it is going to get approved. The lenders want to help us. They're not our enemies. So I don't spend a lot of time in negative energy thinking that everything is going to collapse. I spend a lot of time in positive energy knowing that I've just done what I need to do and everything is going to flow perfectly.
That's a really good reminder, because it's almost like what you put out into the universe will occur in a sense, right? I believe in karma and those sorts of things, like that energy. Negative energy is probably going to get you negative results.
Yeah, or it might even get you the positive result, but you've just spent that that 3 hours
Right.
worrying and not sleeping out and wondering if, they're going to shop you, all those kinds of things. I just try not to live there. And if I'm living there, it's because I haven't done something. I haven't communicated with a client, or it's just a nudge to make a phone call. Can I say something about phone calls? Because I had the weirdest thing happen to me over Christmas.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't about me making the calls, but it was about people calling me. And this is where the phone calls make such a difference. And I needed to talk to you, Jason, and I called you and said, hey, I know I could have emailed you, but we talked. And I know that this makes a huge difference. One of our lovely B lenders who we know and love, who I guess sometimes aren't that good at funding on completion days. And if something goes sideways, they're not always available. And this was over Christmas, so it was going to be even more amplified. That's the closing part of it between the lawyer and the lender that we don't see that often. I had a B deal closing, and I sent it to one of my favorite notaries, and her admin emailed me and said, I don't think we can do this. It's closing during Christmas. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I found a second notary and sent it to him, and he picked up the phone and said, I don't think we can do this on January 3rd. These are all the reasons why. I will take it on if you want it to fund on December 23rd. And I'm like, well, that means that my client's going to pay some per diems. And he said, if you want to get this done on time, that's what you should do. And so I did the math, and it made total sense. They both had the same issue, but one picked up the call to explain what the issue was. The other one just said, I don't think I can do it. So the second notary got the business.
Problem solvers.
Yeah, problem solvers, and much more personable. We were able to catch up about other stuff. So those phone calls are important, because the result was me doing what the first notary wanted me to do.
Yeah.
But the first notary was just trying to get me to do it over email, and I didn't understand. I didn't have the inflections in the voice, how dire it was going to be.
That's always the big thing. Like, I'm a big phone person. Sometimes it's a lot easier to send an email or a text, but to your point, tonalities get taken differently. Your messaging comes across differently. So especially in a situation like that, the most important thing to do is just pick up the phone, have real dialogue, speak to somebody, figure out the problem, and solve it. And if you can do that collectively with a referral partner for your client, now you've got a referral partner and you got a client that are going to stick with you for the long term. To me, it's just a no-brainer to pick up the phone in those situations, and in multiple different situations in this industry where we tend to hide behind the screen. Just get ahead of it, pick up the phone, build the relationship. Every phone call could be a sales opportunity as well. So I'm a big believer in that myself.
Yeah, and if not, you're just connecting with people. Sometimes you're a little bit of a therapist, just listening to their story or whatever just happened to them last week. It is super important. It takes time, though, and efficiency is the killer of human connection. So we, as running our business, run that balance. Is this efficient, or is it human connection? We're in the human connection business, and we should be connecting with humans, period. If you don't like doing that, then probably brokering's not for you.
Business to be in if you don't like that.
The beauty of this industry is there's so many different avenues you can probably find what works for you. And you think of back end office work like you did in Vancity, or an underwriting position or an administrative position. There's places to go if you're ultimately not that, extrovert or social person, or want that type of, back and forth with humans, which, obviously is probably not something the three of us would want to do, but there's a perfect spot for almost everyone in this industry when it comes to those types of, different roles and responsibilities that are needed.
When somebody's making an offer and it's subject removal date and they've handed everything over to you, you carry all of their power in your hands for however many days it is that you have that subject removal. And for people to give you that power is such a trusting thing to do. And it's so important to stay in touch with those folks. Even if you might not be getting the outcome you want, keeping them up to date, letting them know that they're not forgotten. Your client should never be following up with you to see what's going on.
Yeah.
We should really cherish the power we carry for people while we're trying to negotiate for them.
Totally. It's back to caring. Just think of that person on the other end that just doesn't know, in your notary experience, doesn't know what's going on. So it's even when there isn't an update to give, you should still give the update that there is no update, right? So then it's just at least somebody knows that you're not just twiddling your thumbs doing nothing, right? You're watching this, you're monitoring it, you're just nurturing and taking care of the situation.
Or you didn't get smashed up by a car and you're in the hospital and you can't close. Just communication is key. And we have so much power. Let's be so gentle with that.
Totally.
I think Dustin Woodhouse actually wrote it in his Be the Better Broker book, was that a call with no update is better than no update at all.
Yes.
And that's always like, we do these transactions. Some of us have done thousands of them. And we have to remember that the people that we're working with, maybe their first one ever, maybe their second one ever, they're not living this day to day like we are. So you're right. I mean, we do hold the power of communication when it comes to that, and just keeping that client or whoever it is in the loop, even if there's nothing to say, shows them that you care and kind of keeps them confident that you're the one in control of the process.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Dean here. Quick timeout from the episode to share with you the ABW Tuesday Mortgage Memo, your weekly market highlights sent directly to your inbox every Tuesday. This is certainly one you're not going to want to miss, so make sure to sign up now. You can do so with a link in the show notes, or you can head to joinabw.ca and sign up there. This is a high-level summary of market developments, regulatory updates, and housing trends every Tuesday. So hope you enjoy it, and back to the show. Okay, I want to jump into client relationships because I know this is a big part of what's made you successful, what continues to drive your success. What is your approach to building and maintaining such strong client relationships?
I think everything that we've been talking about, I genuinely like people. And it's funny because it wasn't until COVID that I realized how much I love people. And sometimes people are jerks, and I try really hard not to like them, but I even like the jerks. So they're my friends. They're souls that are walking along this earth, and we've collided for whatever reason. And I'm so grateful to know them, even if it's for a long time or a short time. I listen to their goals. I make that happen. I don't know if this is a good segue or not, but you guys gave us that dreams and goals thing to ask clients when they're coming up for renewal. And I'm like, holy crap, that's like 7 pages. Someone sent me that. There's no way I'd send it out. But I'm like, nope, they said try it, and I can't poo-poo it till I try it. So I'm going to send it out. I send it out on renewals. I get almost every single one of them back. And I rarely ever fight on rate. I remember a broker owner telling me once, what are you going to do? You're getting older. Like, your clients aren't going to be buying. And that put the fear of God into me. I'm like, oh my goodness me, I'm not going to have any clients because I'm getting old and I'm not going to be able to attract anyone. Like, that's old mentality, right? Yeah. But now my clients are retiring or close to retirement. They've got all this equity, and there's so many more mortgage products out there, like the reverse mortgage or the Manulife one. I got up to speed on the Man One. I got licensed with them. I send out that dreams and goals thing. It comes back to me, and I listen to V-Tree's Tuesday session.
Yeah.
If anything helped me that last year, it was that.
That was an incredible
so
session.
many aha moments.
Yeah.
And if you take any of those things and just implement them in your business, you're going to do fabulous. I feel like I owe him my firstborn. You can pick her up anytime you want.
That's a good point. I want to touch on V-Tree because he's going to be coming on the show. We're going to be talking about that. So for listeners that are wanting to hear what you're talking about, that session is still recorded on the internet. It's a most viewed session we did last year, and he's going to come on the show and talk about it.
What a generous soul.
Yeah.
I just am so grateful.
Yeah.
But it's helped me on my renewals. It's helped me help my client on my renewals. I've got some of them set up with the best outcomes that I could have ever had. And before, I would have been just going and trying to get them the best rate. But now I've got them paying their mortgage off like 11 years sooner than they should be.
How crazy
it's
is
like,
that?
But it blows my mind.
I didn't believe it was real. Like,
I know.
It is pretty crazy, right? Like the different hacks that are out there, and then it just takes one person to share it, like within our brokers like V-Tree did. And the amount of brokers I've talked to that have had just some incredible success stories. And that's actually, it's a good segue because I was going to ask you to share a memorable client success story. Maybe it involves one, something to this nature. Talking about that specific training session and how much good has come out of it. It's pretty cool how one person makes such an impact.
It is incredible. I have investment advisors that I didn't have a relationship with that I do now because of V-Tree, and probably have had 3 or 4 referrals just because I didn't ever think of that as an angle.
Yeah.
And again, it's this touch and go. Like, we're only one people and I don't have a big team. Do I want a big team or do I want to be able to provide big service? But I'm almost like reining stuff in at this point.
Wow.
Because I don't know how the volumes are going to
Yeah.
go. And that's going to create another
That's awesome.
fun thing
That's a
to
great
work
problem
through.
to have.
I know, but it is, unless you're playing small like me. And so, yeah, that's what's happened to me this year.
Do you have a success story that you could share from like really any time in your career, even if it going back to Vancity, just something that's memorable that, sticks into your mind?
Oh, well, my memory is terrible. And so it would probably be most recent. Actually, a renewal that I'm working on right now, a single mom. I can tell that she's super disciplined now. Loan going to be paid off when her child support's over. And I did the dreams and goals, and she told me everything she's dreamed dreaming and goaling about. And so I ran a calculator for her, and we can get her mortgage paid off in 9 years quicker if she does all the things. And she sent me an email and she's like, is this real? And I'm like, yeah, ha ha ha, I know, right? I mean, there's lots of variables. Rates could go up, rates could go down, and it could be even realer.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a point in time. So for me to work with that client from when she bought her first place to now talking about having her mortgage paid off, and for me to have new tools in my toolkit, and for me to have gone forward and made that stuff happen and taken some action based on some new ideas that I came across because I'm part of Better Way, is just really, really cool. That's rolling this week.
That's awesome.
I think one of the neatest things about that, I mean, all the things that you're doing for the client and helping her reach goals and dreams and all that. Okay, so that's fantastic for the client, but you keep talking about all the things that you attend with our group and just in the industry in general. There's one key driver that would bring out your success over maybe the success of others, is that the things that you're doing, you're actually implementing those into action. So you're taking what Vitri did in his presentation and going out and working with financial planners and implementing plans for your clients. That's the kind of stuff that, to me, I get excited about because I'm watching myself and my business grow, and all the things I could offer that grow. So I think the implementation piece from everything that you're picking up and learning in the business, and that, to me, when you say you 4X'd, that's why I think you 4X, is because you're just taking all this stuff and putting it out there and really believing it and working, and look what's happened. I mean, 4X a business, and you're changing clients' dreams and goals. So I mean, if that doesn't get you out of bed to go to work in the morning, I'm not sure what would.
Yeah, and if that ain't rewarding, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Great point. I want to jump into the biggest impact in your business. Is there one key factor or one piece that's influenced your business the most?
Can it be a million little things?
Yep.
Okay. Loom.
Oh, really? Okay.
Loom has been astronomical because you can connect with your clients. It's all the things that Lena talked about in terms of closing. Google appointment.
Yep.
Like, it's a game changer. It's so free.
Yeah, that's a great point. Basically, which for listeners, it's an alternative to Calendly or any sort of that type of software where you send out the link and somebody just, appears in your calendar.
Books with you. Yeah. I even do it if lender partners want to see me. I'm like, here's my link, book it with me. It's been amazing because you're not going back 6 and 7 times. Such little tiny things that are so unbelievable. It's like, did that just work?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it did. Okay, here we go. There's a million other little things. I know I wrote them down too, and now I can't remember them, but it's a million little changes. I don't know that it's been one big change. I think my one big change would be my mindset.
Well, I was just going to say, you made the commitment to going back a couple of years to start just trying all of this stuff and, making an effort to go on the Tuesday calls all the time and keeping an open mind. I think that's the big shift, is your commitment to being open to all of these things and then trying them. Yeah.
And just being present and picking up the phone. And, a little tidbit that I got, if you're looking for new referral sources, is when you've got that purchase agreement, you've got the buyer's realtor, but you've got the seller's realtor and you've got a lawyer. So you've got 3 points of professionals right there.
Yeah.
And I always used to not be able to come up with ideas. And then just being a part of Better Way and listening to some of my colleagues, I got a million ideas and you can't implement them all. Or you could if you want to build a bigger team, I guess. But yeah, that's the problem I have.
It's a good point though, because you can't do it all. But it's kind of always my thought process when going to a conference. We used to go to conferences in the States for loan officer, mortgage specific type conferences. And it was always wow, there's a lot of money to spend. Better come out of here with at least one idea and implement it, right? And I think it's just, my point there is just take one idea and implement it and try. And if it doesn't work, then find something else and try it again. But if you don't actually try and implement at least one thing, just simplify it, because there is so much stuff coming at us. There's so many things. And if you try to do them all at once, nothing gets done.
That's exactly it. Just take one, and then those little add-ons, one after the other, is just an astronomical change for sure.
Okay. Looking ahead, what are your goals for this year?
I have goals in terms of what I'd like to fund this year. How am I going to get there? I feel like I'm going to do a lot more of the same. I've got my database figured out. I've got all my clients in there because I listened to you guys and did that. But I have not been able to do a newsletter email yet because I'm having some system issues, which I hope to hash out next Tuesday. So being able to do newsletters or quick shout outs to realtors every week with updates, that's a goal that I have for this year.
I like that. That's a good one. How do you see the mortgage industry evolving, and how are you preparing for that?
The mortgage industry is evolving greatly. We have access to so much more information as brokers in terms of what rates are doing and where they're going and why we think they're going that way. I mean, sometimes that's a rabbit hole. You can read a lot of newsletters and listen to a lot of podcasts, and you can like freak yourself out completely. Sometimes I do that and I have to just shut that stuff off and just go back to the basics and do what I do and know what I know instead of getting all worked up about it.
With tech and AI and all of the things that are being thrown at us on a daily basis, daily, almost weekly, I'm having conversations with brokers saying, are we out? Like, is this going to replace us? And one point that you brought up that I think is paramount to discuss is your like of people. And you mentioned that, you deal with people. Some are jerks, some are great, some are fun, some are boring, but you just like people. I think the brokers that continue to work on their emotional intelligence, we got artificial, but it's the emotional intelligence and being able to connect with people, build the relationships, build the trust. This is a very complex business when it comes to financing and putting deals together. I think as we evolve, we have to evolve to being able to adapt and work with all different walks of life, all different personality types, all different people. And I think you're a master at that. And to me, when you 4X, like you said, I think that's only going to continue to help your growth as you go forward. And even to one of your other points where you had that broker owner say, well, as you age, you're not going to have any clients. I would strongly disagree in that there's obviously product for a lot of older clients, but what better story can you have of doing financing for a group of clients who then have kids and their kids get a mortgage, and guess who their broker is? It's you. So I think as we evolve, it's just always going to break down to that, learning how to deal with people emotionally, connect that way. And that's where I see the industry evolving. All the tech stuff is going to be an enhancement to where we're going, but you kind of shine bright in my eyes when it comes to that emotional intelligence and working with people and all that. So that's my thought on it anyways.
One of the mindsets I had that sort of got in my way was like, I'm not going to do that app. I don't want to use that app. I'm not going to feed them more information so that they can take over my job with AI and feed their algorithm. Like I used to think that way, like my input is actually going to like take me out of a job. That's not my problem to worry about anymore. If this is going to help me help my client or help my client directly, I'm all in. Let's just try it. So I've really gotten out of my way in terms of worrying about what might take me out of my job and worrying a lot more about how I can add more value and just be epic at being the conduit to help our clients achieve their goals.
I love that. Okay, I want to wrap with this. What advice would you give to a new mortgage broker today?
Oh my goodness. To a new broker these days, good luck. Don't listen to the background noise. Like just have confidence in your abilities. There's so much background noise. It's hard to know where you're going, but take that first step. Do that thing that scares you. Collaborate. Lean on other brokers that you know and trust. And know that you are part of a really big thing and you're going to have a really, really, really great career, but you can't keep yourself a secret. I knew I brought this prop for a reason. You cannot, whatever you do, keep yourself a secret. My very first deal that I got actually helped a couple because they had a dead battery in their car. I asked if I could help them have a jump start, and it looked like I maybe took care of a huge dispute that was about to happen in the cab of their car, and I gave them a jump start. And while they were driving away, I'm like, hey, I'm a mortgage broker. If you guys ever need a mortgage, they were the very first deal I ever did as a mortgage broker. Wow. And that's not a lie. So you just don't assume that people know that you are looking for business. That's the thing about our business is people call me and they're like, I'm so sorry, I don't want to waste your time. It's like, people, are you kidding me? If you're not calling me, you're calling someone else.
Yeah.
I have to talk to like 80 people before I get a paycheck. Like, please call me for any mortgage question. So don't assume that people know that you are referable and that there's no question that's too small. You have to tell people that all the time. You don't want to chase them around and drive them crazy and make all of us brokers look really bad, but don't assume that people know that you need referrals and that they should be calling you when they need a mortgage.
That is excellent advice. I couldn't agree more. I think that's a perfect place to just put a bow on this. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. That was great. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are epic.
You are. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddies steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy-to-prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening and see you on the next one.